If you've ever known that a stitch in time saves 9, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and I hope that you all survived the spring forward for daylight savings time. We're back with another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, and wouldn't even be surprised if we had some folks that don't have to deal with this, not realizing that we're an hour different now. So we'll talk about daylight savings time. There might even be a poll about that here today. A lot of tension going on. Markets are falling here, although once again, they are up off the lows. So we're going to make sense of it all. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Monday edition for March 9th, 2026 begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. I hope that you all had a wonderful weekend out there. And like I said already, I hope that you survived daylight savings time. You lost an hour. Hopefully that's the last time, question mark? We will see. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here nonetheless. Big Dave is going to be first here today. Good morning, Ryan and traders. Oil through the roof, market red, and the world is a mess. Other than that, everything else is just fine. That reminds me of the meme with the dog sitting at the table with the entire house engulfed in flames. We're still going to make sense of it. Don't you worry about that. Francis, good morning. Welcome back. Lost Penny, good morning. Welcome back. Astro Kev, good morning. Welcome back. The market is a sea of red. Stay the course, Patriots. Indeed, not the day to panic. In fact, there was an old adage that it's never a good idea to sell stocks on a Monday. We'll see if that is the case here again today. Zach, good morning. Welcome back. Well, hopefully you are back to 100% as well. Brian, good morning. Welcome back. Blood in the streets, literally and figuratively. You know what that means, Bri. Just saying. Neville, good morning. Welcome back. Producer, we appreciate everything that you do on a regular basis. Dive Deep, good morning. Good to see you again. Reaching Financial Freedom, good morning. We're going to take another step towards that here today for everybody, not just you. Good morning. It's good to see you again. Welcome back. Jim, good morning. Welcome back. Whisk, good morning. Welcome back. Marionette, good morning. Welcome back. Day Trader, good morning and welcome back. Bernhard, good morning and welcome back. Ed Rowe, good morning. Ed, you smashed the like button, Ed. Appreciate that. Everyone else, follow Ed's lead here. We really appreciate it. The more likes we get, the better this is. We've been slacking on that a little bit. Just saying, just throwing it out there. Unpopular Truth, good morning. Welcome back. Corey, good morning. Welcome back. Big Grip, good morning. Welcome back. 08 Roush Stage 3, one of the calls of the year so far. Good morning. Welcome back. It's good to see you. Sean, good to see you again. Welcome back. JJ, welcome back. Carlos, welcome back. Marty, welcome back. I have 10 clocks to change. Man, I'm sorry. A lot of my clocks, thankfully, are connected to the internet. I don't know if that's good or bad, but it means I don't have to change them. So kitchen clocks and the mini grandfather clock that chimes for me is the one that needs to get changed, but we're all right. Jay, good morning. Peter, good morning. The Noob, good morning. And Dirkus, good morning. All right, folks, let's get started with our stock market today. Markets under pressure ahead of Monday's open, with the conflict in the Middle East raging on now into its second week. S&P futures are down exactly 1% right now, notably up off of the lows, but still under pressure here today. Dow futures down 1.1%, and the NASDAQ futures down 1.06%. Now let's take a look at some cues from last session here. Energy and consumer staple stocks bucked the overall market trend on Friday, closing higher even as consumer discretionary, materials, and information technology recorded the biggest losses. The bloodbath follows a historic surge in energy costs, Brent crude spiking 14.9% to hit 106.50, while WTI surged 13.27% to 102. Both benchmarks now aggressively testing their 52-week highs of 119.46 and 119.43, respectively. Despite the carnage, President Trump took to Truth Social to dismiss the economic anxiety, framing the record high fuel costs as a necessary byproduct of the offensive against Tehran. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.19%. The 2-year bond was at 3.63%. And the CME watch tool is the same as it was pretty much all of last week at 97+%, that we do not have a cut in March, looking like we're not going to get one in April either, or the next meeting. Now, we have several stocks in focus here for you today. The first one is going to be Ovintiv. The ticker on this is OVV. It jumped 5.24% in the pre-market on Monday after Director Mason Howard John sold 5,000 shares of common stock last week. That was according to a Form 4 filing with the SEC. The next stock is Him and Hers Health, and this is ticker HIMS, and this is one that we've traded quite a bit. The saga continues here for this stock that trades like a meme coin. It surged 49.36% after it reportedly ended a public feud with Novo Nordisk, which is ticker NVO, as the former decided to sell its weight loss drug on the telehealth platform. We're going to dive into that a little bit more here. The next stock on our list is going to be Unicure. This is ticker QURE, and it gained 35.88%, fueled by a high-stakes short squeeze after a senior FDA official clarified that the regulatory path for its Huntington disease therapy, AMT-130, is less invasive than previously feared. So positive data there, QURE. The next stock on our list is going to be Starfighter Space, and the ticker on this one is FJET. It dropped 3.86% as Rothschild & Co. Redburn highlighted that the Middle East conflict has introduced a major obstacle for airline carriers, as it could drive jet fuel prices higher. The last stock on our list is going to be Casey's General Stores. The ticker on this is CASY, and it was down 0.94% as analysts expect it to report earnings of $2.98 per share on revenue of $4.04 billion after the closing bell today. All right, let's take a look at the SPY chart here, and let's see if we get the move that a lot of us have been waiting for. Let's see if we test that 200-day here today. The gap down, we'll see how it trades and where we close here today. But the gap down that we're looking at is going to take us beneath the support region that has really kind of caught us the last time that we've broke some of these moving averages, most notably that 100-day. This was the 667.34 to 673 area. We are slightly beneath that here. SPY is 666.04. Here this morning before the open. I've got the SPY 200-day here at 656 and just about 3/4 there. So a test of the 200-day will be really interesting to see. Do we get a buying opportunity like we have in the past? Do we break through it? Do we quickly recapture it? We have been talking about really kind of expecting a pullback at some point this year. A lot of the analysts and insights that we've looked at, despite having a bullish outlook on the overall year for the market, all of them, including some of the traders, also anticipated a pullback. Question is this the start of one? The big question here, the $64,000 question here is this the move down that it's going to punish the buy the dippers? Because anyone that bought the dip late near the end of last week, it's dipping further here today. Does that accelerate a move to the downside? Do buyers today or tomorrow, do they end up getting punished further? What I would like to see, as I've outlined several times, the best case scenario is a move down beneath the 200 and then within 3 or 4 days, a recapture of the 200. I think if we get that, the market, at least in the short term, will try and trade up from that technical level. But we'll see if that's indeed what we end up getting here. Too early to tell. And I think that this is one of those things, especially with all of the conflict going on, it's not time to be a hero. You can just kind of going back to what Mark Petrino has said, if you're going to try and trade something for a rebound, you don't necessarily need to catch the falling knife. Rather, you can wait for that to confirm it. You don't need to hit the dead bottom. It's fun when you do, but you don't need to do it. You can keep yourself safer by doing something else. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at some insights from analysts here. I do have a special guest for you here today, so that should be fun. But let's take a look at some insights from analysts here. According to Mohammed El-Arian, the U.S. economy is currently navigating a, quote, stagflationary wind, end quote, triggered by the escalating conflict in the Middle East. He observes that the transition from quick mean reversion to unpredictable chain reactions has heightened systemic fragility, particularly with energy supply chains. El-Arian highlights a shifting market dynamic where inflation concerns are overshadowing traditional safe haven buying. He notes that despite attempts by investors to buy the dip, stocks have struggled as the realization of systemic fragility sets in. This is further complicated by recent labor data, which describes a significant miss, with the U.S. economy losing 92,000 jobs in February and the unemployment rising to 4.4. Regarding the outlook, El-Arian remains focused on the economic and market fallout of the Middle East conflict. This is what everyone is looking at, of course, warning that the energy shock could severely dampen growth while pushing inflation higher. And this goes back to what we've said since the start of this. It is going to be the duration of this that really impacts things. And so that's what we're going to keep our eye on here. He emphasized that the global landscape is now defined by volatility, fragmentation, and dispersion, suggesting that the path forward for both the Federal Reserve and the equity markets will be increasingly unpredictable and dictated by multiple equilibria. Got to be honest with you, El-Arian was doing an amazing job with his vocab words here today. So good to see. We do have some data coming up this week. I'm going to run through the list of what we're looking at here. No data scheduled for today, but on Tuesday, the NFIB Optimism Index for February will be released at 6. February's existing home sales will be out by 10. On Wednesday, February's Consumer Price Index and core CPI data, along with the year-over-year CPI core, with the CPI and core CPI figures, will be released at 8:30. The monthly U.S. federal budget for February will be out at 2. On Thursday, we get initial jobless claims for the week ending March 7th, January's U.S. trade deficit data, and February's housing and building permits data, all scheduled to be released by 8:30. On Friday, the first revision of the fourth quarter GDP number is due. January's personal income and personal spending data and January's delayed headline and core PCE reports, including year-over-year figures, will be out by 8:30. January's durable goods and durable goods minus transportation data will be out by 8:30, and January's job openings data and March's preliminary consumer sentiment report will both be out by 10. Now, let's talk about HIMSS. First, we'll do, and then let me actually bring that chart up here so we can take a look at that. So this has been a wild ride, really, for HIMSS. There was a wild ride to the upside. There was wild consolidation. It wasn't in a tight range. In fact, it was in a very wide range. And now we have a breakdown where we coughed up all of those moving averages. We got a death cross. That actually played out. We were driven lower. And it does look like we tried to find some support here in the low to mid-teens. This actually goes back to previous levels like in 2024. I think this also goes, yeah, that's still 2024. So we're still in that kind of same area. But today, we've got some more news. Stocks gapping up 48% here today. This does take us above the 20, but because of the fast move down here, we are not even back at the 50. The gap that was created between Friday, February 6th and Monday, February 9th, so far in the pre-market has been filled. We'll see if we continue to move a little bit higher towards the $25 level. That's where that 50-day moving average is hanging out. Now, him and hers. Shares are up Monday in the pre-market session as the company has reportedly ended its legal feud with Novo Nordisk, again, ticker NVO, paving the way for a new partnership involving the weight loss drugs. Novo has decided to sell its weight loss drug through Hims and Hers telehealth program following a lawsuit over patent violations regarding a compounded version of the semaglutide products. In February, Hims and Hers Health agreed to acquire Eucalyptus, a digital health leader, which is expected to enhance the Him and Hers international presence. Him and Hers Health reported fourth quarter revenue of $617.82 million. This fell short of analyst estimates of $619.22 million. However, the company did beat earnings expectations with a reported 8 cents per share, surpassing the estimate of 3 cents per share. Hims and Hers also provided guidance for the first quarter revenue between $600 million and $625 million, which is below the analyst estimate of $653 million. The company expects fiscal 2026 sales of $2.7 to $2.9 billion compared to the consensus of $2.74, with adjusted EBITDA between $300 million and $375 million. Now, the stock is currently trading 41.6% above its 20-day simple moving average. That's the gap that we're moving over. But it's 30.4% below its 100-day, indicating a mixed short-term and long-term technical picture. Again, we're going to need to do some considerable work here in order to get back above some of those. The RSI is at 30.87, which is considered neutral territory, while the MACD shows a value of minus 2.75. with the signal line at minus 3.34, indicating bullish momentum as the MACD is above the signal line. Key resistance, 25. We just talked about that. That's where the 50 is. We'll see if we test that here today. Key support is 15. We were just talking about being kind of in the low to mid-teens, looking like that support level is going to be right there at 15 on the dot. And as far as some recent analyst actions here, Barclays went to overweight. They lowered the target to 25. That was on February 25th. Morgan Stanley's at equal weight. They lowered their target to 21, same day, 25th. And Leerink Partners are at market perform. They lowered their price target to 17.50, and that came on February 24th. So the other thing here with regarding some of the Benzinga proprietary scores here, doesn't really have a great score on anything. Weak value score, kind of a moderate growth score, although given what we've seen from this before and what we're seeing in the other stocks that sell these products, that's actually quite poor. And the momentum is actually bearish. So we'll see how Hims and Hers trades here today. I'd love to know what you guys think about Hims and Hers. Now, let's talk about daylight savings time here. I don't know about you, producer. I think we might need to get a poll up here today, figure out what the group thinks about this. Should we keep doing this? Is this really annoying? Does anyone else really dislike this? I guess, and on the flip side of that, does anyone think we should keep doing this and like it? Daylight savings time, or the annual spring forward practice in the U.S. and Canada, began on Sunday, March 8th at 2 a.m. and ends on Sunday, November 1st at 2 a.m. As clocks move forward 1 hour, most smartphones update automatically, while analog and non-Wi-Fi digital clocks need to be set manually. Most of the U.S. and Canada observe daylight savings time, except Hawaii and most of Arizona, though the Navajo Nation in northeastern Arizona does follow it. This is the key here. How are we doing something where several states don't participate? In fact, I believe Indiana is in this too. Why? Does anyone have a good reason that maybe I can't think of? That's totally possible, but why? I'm going to give you a quick timeline here. 1918, daylight savings time was first adopted in the U.S. to conserve fuel during World War I. That seems like a pretty good reason. World War II, which is 1939 to 1945, daylight savings time was used again to conserve energy and promote national security and defense. 1966, we had the Uniform Time Act, which sets daylight savings time start date as the last Sunday of April. In 74, during the energy crisis, Congress experimented with a year-round daylight savings time starting first Sunday of January. The experiment ended in October, so it didn't even get the full year. In 75, daylight savings times resumes on the last Sunday of February. After 1975, the start date returns to April. In 1987 through 2007, daylight savings time begins on the first Sunday of April. And from 2007 to present, daylight savings time begins on the second Sunday of March, according to the U.S. Naval Observatory. Now, why is this all important? It's not just because it impacts our sleep cycle, which actually is important. It's because this actually has an impact on the U.S. economy. And I didn't realize this until I came across this. I knew it impacted it, but I didn't know the severity to which that was the case. The U.S. economy reportedly incurs a staggering loss of $672 million due to daylight savings time, a phenomenon that extends beyond mere sleep disruption, according to a 2024 study conducted by the Virginia-based firm Chmura. Chmura's research indicates that the disruption to sleep patterns leads to medical complications, traffic mishaps, and workplace injuries, which all carry economic consequences. I've never had a medical complication due to this. Neither has my family, thank God, knock on wood, all of that. But traffic mishaps, workplace injuries, people missing work, I've seen it all. I have seen it all. And again, it never I wouldn't be surprised if at some point today, someone comes into the stream and says, you guys started an hour earlier. It's what happens every single year. The firm approximates the medical costs related to heart attacks triggered by the time shift total $375 million, with stroke-related expenses contributing an additional $252 million. Quote, it's such a huge impact, end quote. That was the Xiaobing Schwab, Chmura's vice president of research. I hope that I got the name right. Amid the inconvenience and public health concerns, there have been growing demands to eliminate the biannual clock adjustment. Yep, right here. I'm with that. With some legislative efforts even reaching Congress. However, no action has been taken so far. Now, two versions were introduced in the House of the Sunshine Protection Act in 2018 to make daylight savings time permanent. The Senate's fast-tracked attempt last year failed. Both bills remain in the committee as of early March. The Daylight Act of 2026 proposes half daylight savings time, advancing clocks by 30 minutes instead of a full hour. I mean, are you kidding me, folks? That's like that. I would almost argue that would be worse. The House bill on year-round time, two bills would allow states to adopt year-round daylight savings time alongside the option of year-round standard time. 19 states have passed laws to make daylight savings time permanent. These states are awaiting federal approval, while many others have pending bills. In 2024, Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, appointed by President Trump to lead the Department of Government Efficiency, expressed their intent to target daylight savings time as a part of their mission to eliminate government waste. Senator Tommy Tuberville backed Trump and Ramaswamy's call to make daylight savings time permanent. So let's throw up a poll. Which one do we like more, and should it be permanent? Should we keep this clock switching madness, or should we just pick one, pick a lane and stay in it? Man, oh man. I'll tell you what, I would love to never have to go through this again. I'll just deal with it getting light and dark at different times. That's like been like that my whole life. It's really not a big deal. Okay. What time is it? 8:22. One more news story here. Then we will get to our guest and some more news. This is going to be about stock QURE. This is Unicure, excuse me. Why is it skyrocketing here today? Let's dive right in. Shares surged, again, ticker QURE. The shares surged after news that Dr. Vinay Prasad will step down from leading the U.S. Food and Drug Administration Biologics Division. On Friday, FDA Commissioner Marty McCary confirmed that Dr. Vinay Prasad, head of the Food and Drug Administration Center for Biologics Evaluation and Research, or the CBER, no wonder they abbreviate it, is set to leave his position at the end of April. FDA's CBER is responsible for evaluating a wide spectrum of treatments, including cancer drugs, gene therapies, and vaccines. His tenure was marked by several controversial decisions, including regulatory reversals for rare disease drugs, including Unicare's gene therapy, and a refusal to consider a flu shot application from Moderna. In May of 2025, the FDA commissioner named Dr. Vinay Prasad the next director of CBER. Dr. Prasad has stepped down on July 30th. The FDA rehired Prasad back in August of 2025. Dr. Prasad has rallied against a decision to approve Sarepta, that's ticker SRPT, that's been another wild one, the drug for Duchenne muscular dystrophy known as Elevidys, arguing that there was little evidence favoring the gene therapy. More recently, Prasad has come under fire for the FDA's rejection of Unicure's Huntington's disease gene therapy. The FDA advised against using phase 1 and 2 study data as the primary evidence for the marketing application of AMT 130, raising uncertainty around the therapy's regulatory path. The agency recommended that Unicure conduct a prospective, randomized, double-blind, sham surgery-controlled study to proceed with its application. Last week, the FDA officially defended its request for an additional study. The Wall Street Journal, first to report Prasad's departure, highlighted that Unicure's trial did not include a placebo control arm. In 2024, the FDA said the company could still pursue accelerated approval without one, citing the challenges of enrolling patients with rare, debilitating disease into placebo-controlled studies. The agency reiterated this view in guidance issued last week. Unicare's therapy also requires brain surgery, making it unlikely that patients would enroll in a trial where they might receive a placebo. McCary told CNBC that, quote, "We, the FDA, do not believe that you need to use a randomized controlled trial or RCT model for all rare diseases. We believe in regulatory flexibility," end quote. Unicure shares surged 31.39% to $18.75 in the pre-market on Monday. That was according to Benzinga Pro. I'll check in where they're at right now. 1974 here, so they're up 5.5 points from Friday's close. All right. I know that we normally don't have a guest on Monday, but I have a very special treat for you here today. We are going to have an interview on a company that is reporting some news. So let's go ahead and bring on our guest. We are going to welcome in Nuvve CEO Gregory Poilasne. I hope I pronounced the name correctly. I'll check that out here in just a sec. Gregory, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How are you, Ryan?
First of all, help me with the last name. Please help me. Correct pronunciation so I don't have to embarrass myself further.
Yeah, no, this is Poilasne. It's pretty close, though.
Poilasne.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, excellent. Okay, that is absolutely awesome. Look, thanks for joining us here today. I just want to cut right to it. You're the CEO for Nuvve. This is Nuvve Holding Company, and we have some news today. Now, really quickly, just as kind of a recap for our audience here, Nuvve powers the future of flexible energy by turning batteries and electric vehicles, buildings, and distributed assets into dynamic grid resources. And at the core of the advanced platform for intelligent energy management and vehicle-to-grid, orchestrating real-time bidirectional charging, load optimization, and grid services. So thank you for joining us. that's my little brief intro here, but let's hear from you. For those that are not familiar with Nuvve, can you please tell us about the company?
Ariane, so first of all, thank you again for the the exclusive on Friday about Nuvve and the announcement for Europe. What we come from a technology called vehicle to grid, which was to use the battery inside the EVs in order to provide a variety of grid services. Basically, your EV becomes a resource for the grid. But now we've also turned a lot of our attention onto stationary storage. And so on last Friday, we announced a partnership with a family office in Europe called Omnia Global, and for which we're announcing the deployment of one gigawatt plus over the next 2 years. And the value of that, think about $250,000 to $325,000 per megawatt. So very significant. But we are working on multiple fronts. And today, what we're announcing is a project in Japan for a 2 megawatt, 8 megawatt battery. We actually announced that project a few months ago, but now we've closed on the sale. It's a $3.3 million sale. We actually received a deposit of $924,000 already. And we expect this battery to be deployed over the next, between now and the end of the year. And we're going to work on terms of revenue recognition over the next few quarters. But this is just a very exciting opportunity to show that we're not just talking about things, we are actually executing, and we are receiving cash for that as well.
Okay, and that's kind of what I wanted to drill down on here. Congratulations on the expansion and all of that. And I mean, beyond just the kind of the obvious expansion here, can you tell us more about what this means for the company?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a validation of all the effort we have been putting together in order to reorient the company more towards stationary storage versus a V2G. And so this is extremely transformative. Again, 1 gigawatt times 260,000 or $325,000 per megawatt. That over the next 24 months in Europe, that's completely changing where we are coming from. What we came from, going public through a SPAC. And I can't say that everything has been easy, but we've been working hard in pivoting, and I think now we found the right spot at the right time. The value of those grid services is extremely high, especially in Japan, and we see also a very exciting pipeline in Japan as well over the next 3 or 4 years.
Okay, now that's great. Now, what are some of the operational goals for the rest of this year?
Yeah, so I mean, we have, for example, last Friday we announced this battery project in Sweden. And so executing on that is essential, right? Executing on the battery project in Sweden, executing on this battery project in Japan. And also we have a few other projects that are under discussion in Japan where we have a very flexible model in Japan. I mean, in some cases, we might own the assets, we might resell those assets. In any case, we are always the asset manager, and we make about 12 to 20% of the revenues being an asset manager for those. And so that gives us a very broad range of application that we can provide, accessing either wholesale exchange or frequency response market in Japan, which is also a very, very big market.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about vehicle to grid technology that we already briefly mentioned here. It's been discussed for years, but adoption has been gradual. What do you see as the biggest barriers to large scale vehicle to grid deployment today? And how is Nuvve positioning itself to overcome those?
Yeah, I mean, I think the complexity in the supply chain, like all the parts that have to come together, have been taking definitely a lot more times than what we were hoping for. We still think that for us, we have, the way we see this convergence now, we have all this effort around stationary storage. In the meantime, we have a few microgrid projects that we're working on, and the conversion of stationary storage and microgrid is going to be great for supporting V2G in an implementation that would include combining with local loads, local generation, and stationary storage at the same time. So we still love V2G. This is where we are. Our platform has been developed in order to support V2G, so it's got all those capabilities with AI forecasting. But the value into using that platform into stationary storage is where we see a drastic change for Nuvve and from where we are coming from. I mean, we are like a tiny market cap company, and we are literally talking about hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue opportunity in a couple of years.
Yeah, and I mean that's really exciting, especially for a company of your size. Look, as more EVs connect to the grid, how does Nuvve plan to monetize the energy storage potential of these vehicles? And what does the long-term revenue model look like for the fleet operators participating in your platform?
Yeah, so I mean, in general, right, either it's stationary storage of or electric vehicles is the same thing, right? We optimize the use of the energy locally. So saving, for example, on-demand charges if you have a fleet, which can be very significant in places like California, but also participating into services at the distribution level and the ancillary services. So the ability through a virtual power plant capability to access all those markets is very important. And then the other thing is, from the fleet owner perspective, it's about the reduction of the total cost of ownership of those EVs. But as I said, right now, we have a business unit that is still very focused on school buses, where we see there's a lot of value, and we have actually an exciting year going on right now. There is nothing that is compared to the deployment we are looking at, and that those partnerships that we are announcing here, either in Europe, in Japan, and in the US, though the US is moving a little bit slower.
Mhm.
But this approach, this multi-front approach of Europe, Japan and South Korea actually, and US is really paying off, because those are moving at different speed. They have different level of maturity. But this is just the proof that all the effort that we have been putting together is paying off right now.
Okay, that sounds absolutely fantastic. Now, if we look maybe 5 to 10 years ahead, which I understand that's subject to change, but if we look maybe 5 to 10 years ahead, do you envision EVs becoming a major distributed energy resource for the grid? And what role do you see Nuvve playing in shipping that energy to marketplace?
So, I don't want to put a timeline. I mean, do EV will be? Yeah, I think they will. I think there's a lot of other exciting development, right? I mean, obviously AI and the energy consumption associated with the AI is pushing for a lot of transformation. I think any type of energy storage is going to be essential in the environment we're going to be living, either it's stationary or on wheels. And so we really believe in that combination. But also it's going to be very exciting to see the other type of energy generation that are going to come. There's a lot of talk around SMR and all those
Mhm.
opportunities. So I think if I think about where we will be in 10 years from now, right, we'll have a large deployment of stationary storage, but we also going to be considering all these other options in the future to provide. The goal is really to provide energy in a equitable and affordable way for everybody. I think that's really what matters, and that's really the goal that I've set for Nuvve a long time ago.
Okay. I'm going to go with a really quick question here from the viewers for you. Does this require any additional wiring and equipment back in the building?
And this means V2G or battery deployments in general?
Yeah, I think that he's referring to V2G, but
No,
I'll get him to
yeah,
confirm that.
V2G doesn't require more wiring, right?
Okay.
And it's like installing a battery, right? It's not more. The system is all bidirectional already. There is no need. No, it's like a battery. What you need is a system that is able to understand that when you send a command to discharge, it's able to do it either through the vehicle or through the charging station, depending on the implementation. But it's the same thing as a battery, and so it's fully bidirectional.
Okay, great. Thank you. It was, in fact, V2G. I really appreciate that. And look, is there anything else that you would like to share with investors? Anything that you think they should know?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think the partnership with Omnia in Europe is really accelerating our growth. The 1 gigawatt plus that we have in Europe in the pipeline is super exciting. Japan is also integrating more and more charging batteries, over in the system. We have project here, in New Mexico. We've been talking about that quite a bit. We are at an inflection point right now. We have contracted projects. We have a global pipeline, and we believe that the company is going to be totally changed over the next even few months. And so, I would leave to the people watching today to drive their own conclusion about where Nuvve is headed. But we're just very, very excited about it.
Okay, that's absolutely awesome. And we are very excited that you took time this morning while releasing this news to join us here. Really appreciate it. Gregory Poilasne, did I get it right that time?
Poilasne.
Poilasne, sorry. Really appreciate you joining us. CEO of Nuvve Energy, that's ticker NVVE. Thanks so much for waking up with us here today.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Look forward to speaking with you in the future. All right. Day trader, sorry, I didn't get to the second question here. Do local utilities have to approve the installations? I'm sorry, my man, I was a little bit late on that, but I appreciate the input. Thank you. Our Brew here saying, love this. Sounds really, really exciting. The news here is great, and I would expect some more of this. Nice little reaction here today for the stock as well. So we thank Gregory for joining us here this morning. Really good stuff. Okay, let me get back to some of the news here. Actually, what we'll do, let me take a look real quick. Let me go ahead and share my charts here again. Here's what we're looking at with Nuvve. You can see we had a huge move here in the pre-market. Let's see how the stock actually finishes the expansion here. Sounds really, really great. One more news story that I wanted to get to here this morning before we do some of the other stuff that we have on deck. This one is going to be one that we talked about briefly last week, and I don't think this is going anywhere. This is regarding the NVIDIA snub of Micron for Samsung and SK Hynix. Rising demand for artificial intelligence hardware is reshaping the high bandwidth memory, or HBM, market. This gives South Korea's leading chip makers an edge in supplying critical components for next generation AI processors. Samsung, which some of you might trade, SSNLF, it's an OTC stock, and SK Hynix have secured the role of exclusive suppliers of sixth generation high bandwidth memory for NVIDIA's next flagship AI accelerator, Vera Rubin. This is according to industry officials. The decision gives the two South Korean chip makers an advantage in the completion for premium AI memory chips, putting them ahead of Micron Technologies in supplying components for NVIDIA's next generation AI hardware. That is reported by the Korea Economic Daily. AI-driven demand is reshaping the HBM market, with major chip makers competing to supply next generation HBM for advanced AI processors. Samsung has begun mass production of its HBM4 AI memory chips and is reportedly negotiating prices of about $700 per unit, roughly 20 to 30% higher than the previous generation, reflecting strong demand in a tight supply for the AI memory market. The company is trying to regain momentum after initially trailing SK Hynix, while both firms compete to supply NVIDIA for its next generation Vera Rubin AI platform. The industry reports indicate NVIDIA plans to source most of its HBM4 supply from SK Hynix and Samsung, with SK Hynix expected to provide about 70% and Samsung about 30%, while Micron has struggled to meet the stricter technical requirements. The surge in AI chip demand, supported by orders from companies such as Meta, is strengthening pricing power for HBM suppliers and driving broader gains in the memory market, including DRAM, which is used in smartphones and PCs. Now, this will be very interesting to see how it affects Micron. I know Micron probably, I would guess based on our group here, that Micron is probably the most frequently traded of these memory names. I would say it either has to be this or SanDisk. This news kind of reads poorly here for Micron. The chart here, not great either. Sure looks like we have a near-term downtrend, and now we have a rollover past a previous breakout level, as well as coughing up the support at the 50-day moving average. So I'd be curious to know if any of you folks, or maybe not if, where you folks think that this memory market as a whole is going, but I think that the focus here is going to be on Micron. To me, I would be unsurprised if this pulled back to a $300 level. That's going to be right around the 100-day. All of these, you guys don't need me to tell you, all of these stocks made a huge move higher, a little bit of a regression back to the mean, probably not the end of the world here, but we'll see how it all shakes out. Micron, the one that is affected the most here. All right. We are cruising on time. We're actually going to be able to take a look at a bunch of tickers here today. Just let me catch up on the chat, make sure everyone's okay here. Why are my messages disappeared? I see all your messages. I don't see anything disappeared. I haven't disappeared anything here today. Day Trader, appreciate the questions. Thank you. JD Ondas reporting a preliminary Q4 loss as revenue rises. We'll take a look at that here. Ondas about flat in the pre-market. Okay, let's go ahead and do our street tweets segment. Oh, I don't have anything. Oh my gosh, sorry. All right, first one here is from our friends at the Kobisi letter. I apologize if it's difficult to see on the screen because it's a little bit longer of a tweet. I will go ahead and drop this here in the chat for you. U.S. oil prices are currently attempting one of their biggest reversals in history. Last night at 10:30 p.m., U.S. oil prices were up as much as 30% on the day. Then the Financial Times reported that G7 countries are considering releasing 400 million barrels of crude oil from the reserves. Less than 4 hours later, oil prices nearing $100 a barrel and are now up 12% on the day, erasing more than half of their daily gain. Can the oil markets erase today's rally? So oil is going to be in focus all day here today. Crude holding steady plus 12.5% at 102 and a quarter. Right ahead of the open. It's actually been pretty steady here throughout this morning. I expect that to change when the market opens here. Producer, next tweet, it's somewhat related. Next tweet comes from Tracy Schuschart. Again, I've shared a couple of tweets. This is one of my favorite follows for the energy or oil market. And she goes on to say, in my humble opinion, it's not the temporary gasoline price spikes that we should be the most concerning. I know that's what gets all of the headlines and all of the talk. I'm guilty of that as well. It's the persistent ULSD prices to the upside, only exacerbated by this new conflict. Diesel runs the world. So we spend a lot of time focusing here on crude, what that means for gas prices for the consumer. Very easy to forget diesel used in a lot and has a dramatic impact on the economy. So this is an oil expert. I get a lot of my oil news and thoughts from her. And this is an interesting one that I hadn't thought of before. So I figured I'd share that here with the group. Okay, let's get back to charts here. We've got about 15 minutes until 13 joins us. I don't really have any other news to go through here, so I would say let's take a look at some charts here. Now, JD already mentioned Ondas here. That was actually higher in the pre-market by just about 1%. Said that there was some news here. There wasn't when I had checked earlier, so this must have broke while we were on here. And indeed, preliminary fourth quarter and full year 2025 financial results and report will be released on March 25th. They give you a preliminary revenue range of 29.1 million to 30.1 million, and full year 25 preliminary range from 49.7 million to 50.7 million. The key here, reiterating full year 26 revenue guidance range of 170 to 180 million. So looks like we get a little bit of a preliminary report here. I absolutely will do some more kind of digging into the PR when I have some time here today. My big takeaway from the headline here, reiterating the revenue guidance range, what I have been saying the entire time is we want to see these revenues actually make the bottom line. It's great when they PR that they have a new order or a new contract and all of that. Let's see it get to the bottom line. Let's see how it does here. They're reiterating the guidance range. The last time that they reported earnings, it marked a huge move higher here in the stock. So reiterating this range seems pretty good. Again, I'll take a little bit of a deeper dive. Ondas up just shy of 1% here in the pre-market on the back of that news, and probably also trading with the conflict there in the Middle East as well. Now, what else do we want to take a look at? 08 Roush Stage 3, mentioning Boeing here. Boeing and China deal, 500 plus jets. Let's take a look here. Boeing down 2% here in the pre-market, and actually taking a look at the chart, sitting right here at about 226. 226. That's going to be right in here. So we're still above the 100. We're still above the 200. Those moving averages are sitting on top of each other. But boy, oh boy, it sure looked like we might be making a run towards recapturing the 50, and that looks like it might be off the table here now. China in talks with Boeing to order 500 737 MAX jets. Now, this was news on Friday that we got near the end. This caused Boeing to trade higher. We actually closed 4% higher there on Friday, pulling back a little bit. I'm actually not terribly surprised here. One of the things that when all of the fiasco was going on with the 737 MAX jet, I was fortunate enough to be able to talk to a Boeing engineer. And one of the things that he told me is he said, look, this plane, when they get all of these problems figured out, this is going to be one of the safest planes in the world, and it's going to be all over the place. And here now we're seeing China buy 500 jets. I got to say, if this goes through, the news here was that they are in talks, right? Company is closing in on a 500 plane order, excuse me. So I would say you probably have a little bit more when that gets confirmed, or I should say, if that gets confirmed or official. Tough for me to see that as anything but a positive for this particular stock as well. Just as a reminder of what we were looking at here on Boeing, since the COVID fall off, the stock has really kind of been trading in a range. But if you'll notice, we actually have been kind of making some higher lows, at least on the bottom side of this formation, which means on the top side of this formation, we really want to break above this trend line. I have this originating in February of 2021 and just connecting some of the highs here on Boeing. I'll move back towards the 50 and then a challenge here of this 256, let's call it, maybe 255 by the time the price gets there. This could inevitably send Boeing back above its $300 price. I would imagine that this piece of news that we have here would be pretty good if that gets finalized. So there you go, Roush Stage 3. I can't remember. Do you trade this one? Is this one that you hold or trade back and forth? Let me know on that. Okay, what other stocks do you folks want to see here? Yeah, baby, oil, big B's. I love it. Applied Digital. Marty, you want to take a look at APLD. Let's do that here today. APLD down 1.75%. This thing has also been wild recently. Let's see what the intraday chart looks like here. Very, very clear downtrend. Looks like we probably want to test some of those lower areas. We did have earnings out of the way here on March, right? No. Yes. No. APLD, no, excuse me. I don't know why this was linked here with Babcock and Wilcox. Applied Digital announced the pricing of senior secured notes. I got to be honest with you. It sure looks like, at least based on the chart here, that this is going to try and test some of those spots lower. We did break the recent support area that we had here on the 15-minute chart. This actually should provide resistance. So that $25 level should be some resistance. We closed down 10% on Friday, and we're actually another almost 2% lower here today. So I don't know where this stock bottoms. Looking at the daily chart here, got to think that this 200-day is going to come into play here. Sure looks like we're making a move towards that right now as well. So I would say let's see what happens here the next time it comes. What did it do the last time it was at the 200? Okay, so the last time that we were around the 200, we actually did a breakout back test, and then that led to this huge run that we were on. So we haven't visited this level in some time. I got to think, my gut, this is not a stock that I hold. This is not a stock that I actively trade. Tom here says it's a bargain at this price. Tom, I would say that you can probably wait out this test of the 200. Maybe it doesn't even print 2277 and we get down towards 23. I would say watch how this thing trades here today. With the market being weak, if this shows any type of strength here, that would be relative strength against the backdrop of the market and the current trend that it's in. That would be notable. I'm not sure we get that. Otherwise, what I would be doing here, especially given some of the uncertainty that's roiling the broader market here, I would wait this out. I would wait out a test of the 200-day. I don't know what your position is or what your plan is or what your thoughts are on this, but to me, the chart sure tells me that it's going to try that 200-day. Brian here says, I welcome any and all red in APLD, dollar cost average all day. Brian, that sounds to me like you've got a long-term outlook on this. Let me ask you, what is the time horizon of that trade? And I guess perhaps more importantly, do you have any upside targets on that? Let me know. Okay. Let's see. What else did you folks have here? TNYA. Wait, I don't know. Other than Boeing, I'm not sure I've really dived deep. Penny stock, really? I'm just going to go to grab. I'm sorry, man. I feel if we have more time, we can come back to some of the penny stocks, but let's focus on some of these bigger stocks here, at least before we get to the movers section. Okay, here's Grab. Now, this is an interesting one. I've never really bought into the thesis here on Grab. If you folks have a long-term thesis on this, sell me on it. Let me know what it is. But I mean, I don't necessarily think that I believe this whole thing here. Grab, in 2012, Grab provides ride-hailing services, food and grocery delivery, and financial services, seems like an odd mix, in 8 Southeast Asian countries. So the Uber of Southeast Asia, the DoorDash, to me, I don't know. This thing has never really been appealing. I don't see any news here on this. And I had several folks that I work with that were very bullish on this. I didn't really see it. I'm thinking that since we cracked the 200-day, first of all, the 20-day moving average is going to be one of the most important moving averages looking at this chart right now. Very clearly, this has kept us in the current trend that we're in, right? And even when we peak above this 20-day, we are unable to really hold above it. We end up resolving lower. We've had a death cross that I think is still playing out. I don't think this is over. Sure looks and feels like the stock is a bit heavy. 350 doesn't even seem like that crazy of a level. That's only 40 cents lower than where we're at right now. I'll tell you what, sell me on this because this chart doesn't look great here at all. And if this actually has like a long-term thesis here that we should pay attention to, let me know what it is. I'm not sure I'm a believer. RSI entering oversold territory here. This to me looks like we've got some more downside before this reverses. We'll see. Kelly, when I talk about penny stocks, I actually mean stocks that are actually in pennies as opposed to being above the $1 threshold. A lot of people look at penny stocks as anything under $5. To me, again, where this all came from is stocks that are under $1 just seem to trade differently. The news on NVVE earlier had that stock up at about $1.50 earlier today. But you know what? If that's what you folks want, who am I to argue? Let's go back. Let's take a look at what did I do? Let's go back and take a look here at this. I'm sorry. I want to give some insight here. Some of these stocks, especially these smaller ones, like I don't follow these at all. So I would just be guessing here. This is Tenaya Therapeutics. Stock is up nearly 7% here today. Let's see if we're moving up on any news. Therapeutics presents preclinical data of its TN-301 at Muscular Dystrophy Association's Clinics and Scientific Conference in 2026. So it's presenting some data here. Was the data listed in this? I am probably going to, here we go. Treatment at a dose as low as 3 milligrams, improved grip strength and wild type levels within 5 weeks. Okay, so it does seem like this is pretty good data. Let's see what the financials look like here. See what's on its balance sheet. 56 million in cash. It loses 20 million a quarter, and it's cash flowing negative as of the most recent quarter. So got to think that the debt is probably a huge issue here. Looking at the chart, not great, right? Not great at all. 40 cents, maybe the bottom here. Yeah. So with the recent volume flow in here, we are recapturing the 20, we are recapturing the 50. Well, let's see what happens at the 200. So I guess perhaps this is why you brought this up. There is a potential move here if this can really get rolling, a recapture of the 200 and then maybe the 100. I don't know how important that's going to be if we're recapturing the 200-day as well. But anyway, a recapture of those two puts a possible gap fill on deck. Gap here is from what, 105 up to 136. So if this ends up trading above or breaks out of this range here, maybe this can stop being a penny stock pretty soon. But again, give me some more context on this if you're following any of this. This is not on my radar at all. I don't trade this or anything like that. But let me know. Give me some more on here. I'm sorry I'm not up on this. All right, producer, let's do it. Let's do it. Go ahead and throw that up on the screen. Folks, this Thursday, we are doing another webinar here. It's going to be a free to enter. Producer's got the QR code there on the screen. We're hosting a free virtual event this Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern. It's called The Hottest Sectors Retail Investors Are Watching Right Now, AI and What's Next. I think it actually would be perfect for this group. If you personally, we're breaking down the AI boom, where the real opportunities might be, and how investors are positioning in the high growth sectors like AI, big data, and tech. Remember, Tim Melvin has helped us do this. Be very curious to see what else we have here. You'll also learn about companies gaining exposure to these trends and the risks traders should be watching. It's free to attend. Just scan the QR code on the screen or hit the like in the description and reserve your spot. Again, that is this Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Okay. Ryan, can we get the link as well? There you go. Producer, that's it, right? The link that you just threw in there, that's the link that we need. All right, perfect. Appreciate you. Dive deep. Before I move away from TNYA here, they're going to have earnings on March 24th. Did they confirm that? Because we were estimating it for March 20th. But if that's been confirmed, that's great. So, and you're playing for the gap fill. Okay. So despite not really knowing a whole lot about this company, as it's not one that I follow, simply looking at the chart, we were able to uncover exactly what you're after here. I think what I like the most about this is that you actually have what looks like a trigger to kind of alert you that this trade might be on deck here. The 200-day is sitting literally at the dollar threshold. The round number thresholds are a real thing. We see it all of the time. Penny stocks moving to $1. We see that plenty of times as well. If we can recapture this $1 area, again, that sets up that possible gap fill. Top of that candle I have here at 105. So maybe a move here, 105, a little bit higher. That fills that gap up towards 136. All right. Lion, I see your messages. Everything's fine. I think whatever you ran into earlier was probably user error, but you look good here. Short airlines, long oil. That seems like that's no change from last week, right? It looks like that's what you were doing last week. And long defense. Oh, good. Glad I held on to my defense ETFs. I got the Lion's blessing on that swing position as well. And actually, we already have some gains booked for that. All right. Let's go ahead and bring on 13. We're going to do our pre-market pulse segment. Let's see how his weekend was. 13, good morning. Happy Monday. How you doing, my man?
Good morning, Ryan. Good morning, everybody. Sorry it's a little dark in here. It's very overcast outside, so waiting for some more light to come through my window here. But for now, just a little bit dark. Had a good weekend, though. Getting ready for this week. It's the boil week. So getting set up for all that. Looking forward to this
Is this a, what boil? Is this a crab boil? Fish? No, not
crawfish. Yeah, crawfish.
Crawfish boil. Okay. All right. Well, let me just really quickly, before we dive into things here, what are your thoughts on daylight savings time?
Oh, I hate it.
Okay, that's kind of what I thought. I dislike it too. The first day of daylight savings time, 13's got cloud cover and it looks all dark in the place, but it is what it is. All right. Really quickly before we break down this list here, thinking about it is spamming here about NKLR. And I think maybe we should take a look at this. We don't want to lose him or have him have some type of heart condition. Oh, it looks like there was a little bit of a copy and paste there. I'm sorry. I don't mean to poke fun at you, but you poke fun at me, so I know you can take it. Terra Innovatum Global executes its first procurement order for nuclear-grade graphite with Mersen. On-site nuke beats oil disruptions. So I'm guessing then that NKLR, you like this here on the back of the oil stuff that's going on. Here's the news, fresh today. Let me see if there's anything else in here. Leverages Mersen's recognized nuclear-grade graphite and long-term expertise of materials for demanding sectors. Establishes pathway towards long-term supply agreement with supporting serial manufacturing beginning in 2028. So I still think we're facing the same thing here where this is going to be a ways off. But it looks like you like this on the back of the oil news here. Stock was down 8% on Friday. It looks a little weak here today. Chart looks terrible. Just
it was
absolutely. And it's despacking, right? This is the same deal. So, okay. So 13, any thoughts here on NKLR? By the way, really quickly thinking about it, just to make sure I get the context in there, long-term play, not a trade for today. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the play here for you, if this is going to be long-term, then you buy it where you think is good, and then you're off. This to me looks like it could still go lower. We'll see what happens when we hit the all-time lows. That's going to be from November 17th. That I have that at 373. So if we go beneath that, then we'll have some more buying opportunities there. Thinking about it, but this still looks like a good drift lower as it dispacks.
I am sorry that I missed this. This is one of the best comments that I've seen on the show in weeks. Brian here said 13 looks mad mysterious, and then says that's the guy I have to turn my quests in. So maybe it's just me, but for anyone else that's played an RPG or an MMORPG, boy, that hits, Bri. That one hits. That one hits pretty well. Thanks for the laugh here.
Here, I'll just do this. So, no.
Okay. Props to you. Bonus points for you. Good morning, Jay. It's great to see you here this morning. Okay, 13. Was there any stock that you want to take a look at in particular, or should we just roll down the movers list? A lot of them are oil. I checked earlier.
All the ones that I looked at, I'm sure a lot of them are oil, but all the ones I looked at today are not. And then I just noticed that there was one that started taking off as soon as I came on. But we can go down the list first if you want. There's 4 that I looked at here, starting with HIMS.
Yeah, so this is actually HIMS with the Z. Looks like more folks understood the reference there. I am all about that. I am here for that. HIMS here, this is going to be the levered ETF on HIMS. Now, 13, I would just ask for your opinion here. I actually covered the news here this morning regarding HIMS and Novo Nordisk. Now, effectively laying down their swords and working with one another. It is causing a 42% pop in the underlying. So is there anything on the chart that you're looking at?
That 50-day SMA, we ran right up to that in the pre-market, and we couldn't get past it. That's at $25, so I think that's going to be a big resistance area. If we do manage to get past it, that'll become support, but the next area of resistance I see is going to be at $30. So those will be the next 2 areas I'd be keeping an eye on. Let's see if we can recapture 25. If we can, 30 should be the next spot we go to.
Okay, that would be great. That's exactly what we talked about earlier. 25 and 30, your next upside levels here. We'll see. You're gapping above the 20, so hopefully we don't give this stuff back, but the news seems pretty solid there. And that will take care of HIMS with the Z, HIMZ. That's just going to be your 2x levered ETF. So if you're looking to trade this, maybe HIMZ is where you would prefer to go here. Sorry, I thought I clicked on it. Maybe not. Cheap. Moves 2x what HIMS does. This stock up 86%. Okay, now the next one here, this is going to be Xenon Pharmaceuticals. The ticker on this, XENE. This stock is moving big here. It's actually up 45%. We had one a little impulse move, but then a much bigger one on much higher volume. That is actually creating a nice little, like kind of almost like a flag up here. Stock's doing a really good job holding here. Now, what's going on with this? Reported on Sunday Xenon Pharmaceuticals to unveil phase 3 X-TOL2 top-line results for one of its drugs, a novel KV7 potassium channel opener. Now, we got some of that, right? Yeah, top-line results met its primary endpoint. So that good data here, that's driving the stock higher. This is significant. Stock is up 44.85%. It is up nearly $19, $18.50 right now, currently trading at about $60. It does have 7.78% of the float shorted and 7.38 days to cover. So that days to cover metric actually meets our high threshold. On average, stock trades 904,000 shares per day. Today, it's traded over 2 million, and the float here is 69 million. 13, you have any thoughts here on this chart?
It's got to hold above 60, I think, if we're going to press higher. The good thing is that this company does have cash, but I don't want to take the possibility that they might raise some more off the table. This is a biotech after all, so they are burning through it.
Well said.
Now, this company does plan to submit an NDA in the third quarter of 2026. They do have other drugs, but for this particular one that it's running on today, they're going to be submitting a new drug application to the FDA in the third quarter. So more news to look forward to there. With 69 million shares in the float, it's one of the lighter ones that I looked at today, if I'm being honest. But I think really what we need to be focused on is just whether or not we're going to hold above 60. We're testing that right now, so it's kind of make or break here with this one.
Yeah, and I also here have a fair value gap that has been carved by this impulse move. And indeed, 13, the top end of this range here is right at 60. So we did dip into this range here. Let me take a look at a little bit of a longer term time. Yeah, I don't really see anything in here. I don't necessarily love this on a possible buy at 60. If you were to do that, you'd have to come up with your own stop. I'd probably put that in the 58 handle here, frankly, the low from the pre-market. But that's what's going on here. XENE, it is up 43%. We'll see if that keeps rolling here. Now we have another biotech company. This is going to be RLMD. This is Relmada Therapeutics. I believe this is bladder cancer data, if I recall correctly from earlier. Indeed. So Relmada Therapeutics announces a 12-month interim data for its ongoing phase 2 trial of NDV-01 for high-risk non-muscle invasive bladder cancer. They also got a private placement of $160 million. Stock is up 45% just about here. Quick peek at the short interest, 1.53% of the float is short with 1.96 days to cover. So it's low on both of those metrics. The average volume that it trades here, about 688,000 shares. That's a 100-day average. Today, we've done 20 plus million. Float here is 72.5 million. Where are we going on RLMD?
That 160 million private placement was oversubscribed, which is always a good sign. That indicates that there's some faith in this company. And I think when I was looking at this is like I believe one of their only things they've got going on here with this company. So big deal for them. And they also are planning in the middle of this year to begin their phase 3 rescue program. That's the acronym they gave it. Also, they're planning on submitting investigational new drug clearance at the same time. So some new or some future catalysts here for this one. Company has cash now, so I'm not concerned about them raising it. As far as where this goes, we need to see this get back above the VWAP. And I think if we cannot do that, the longer we spend beneath it, the more likely it is we come back towards the 65 EMA. And, when it comes to a lot of these here this morning, I'm not so sure I'd be wanting to jump into anything ahead of the open. We could get some pretty wild moves in the first 10 or 15 minutes. So I think it's better just to come up with a plan and just be patient. But for this one, need to see a recapture that VWAP.
Okay, I'm with you on that. We'll see if we get that. I'd also like to see that recapture of the VWAP coincide with a little bit of volume expansion. We may not see that until the market opens, if we see that at all. Stop the presses, folks. Stop the presses. I had just told you earlier when we were griping a little bit about the daylight savings time that I was fairly certain that at some point someone would show up here and say, when did you guys start? Bill You have made me look like a savant with that prediction. How long you guys been on in Arizona? Time change. I think what you mean there is Arizona doesn't participate in the silliness that is daylight savings time. Bill, first of all, we're thrilled that you're joining us now. We've been on for an hour and 11 minutes thus far because we sprung forward here today. Also, worth noting, since we're talking about this, go ahead and please vote in the poll and let me know what you think about daylight savings time, along with everybody else. In fact, 13, I have to go do that still as well. So, Bill, we are glad to have you. I am not picking on you. You made me look smart here today, and for that, I appreciate you. All right. Oops. Okay, you guys are saying Ondas merger. Do I have to go back to this 13? Is thinking about it punking me?
I don't know if this was any newer than what you looked at before.
Nope, he's not punking me. Okay. Thank you, thinking about it. Ondas reaches a merger agreement with U.S. defense prime contractor Mistral. This expands the direct prime participation across U.S. Department of Defense programs. The terms are not disclosed, which is the stock is popping on this piece of news here. Remember, they had already given us a Q4 preliminary revenue range and reiterated their revenue guidance. So stock's up here. We'll see where this goes. I'm going to have this is good. I actually have some work to do here today when I have a little bit more time. I will go through these and try and give you an updated opinion on what's going on. But together with Mistral's capabilities, we believe Ondas is well positioned to deliver fully integrated autonomous air and ground solutions aligned with the Department of Defense modernization priorities, Homeland Security's requirements, and state-level public safety missions. 13, we had talked about this probably being the case. Ondas has traded up on some of these headlines regarding drone proliferation and drone expansion, and obviously the conflict in Ukraine is showcasing drones. The conflict in the Middle East is showcasing drones. So this all just seems positive here for Ondas. Again, up 4%. We'll see where it closes here today. Y'all know my thoughts on this one as it is.
I'd love to see that back above the 50 day SMA.
Okay. All right. What else did you have on your list here?
I looked at QURE.
Perfect.
And I also took, after it started already going, I took a glance at LRHC. So we can look at that one together. Okay,
QURE, I covered this a little bit there in the news section as well. This also, I actually did not notice this. So Wells Fargo upgrades Unicure to overweight and gives it a price target of 60. That's notable. The stock is 1933 here in the pre-market today. 13, I've already talked about this, so I'll turn this over to you. What do you got for us?
Well, the news is that there's a FDA director that's stepping down. Has been a thorn in the side for this company. Let's go back to the news that I was seeing here. So, hold on a second. So this director. Hold on a second. Let me pull this up so I can get you the right names. Sorry, this director, Dr. Vinay Prasad.
Yep.
Yeah, he's he was not great, not really liking QURE's therapy, gene therapy division that they had going on. So this whole movement is two things. It's rejoicing over this guy getting out of the way and pretty much he's been the asshole that's kind of roadblocked this company. So that's number one. Number two is that we have high short interest to the tune of almost 17.5% with 5.18 days to cover. So also getting a bit of a short squeeze here. So two things happening here. Happy that this director that's been a thorn on their side is gone and is seeing a short squeeze. Okay. Yeah, he was against. Yeah, he was. It was. Yeah, you're right. He was against this, and it just wasn't great for the company. But now that he's gone, it is.
Okay. There you go. Good stuff. QURE. All right. Now you said you had one more LHRC.
LRHC. This
RHC. I beg your pardon.
This had a Benzinga exclusive.
Our news desk doing some crazy good work here today. And 13, before you actually dive into the news here, I just want to shout the team out. We again had this news in the news feed to Benzinga Pro subscribers 15 minutes prior to the PR coming out. PR reads that it signs a non-binding letter of intent to acquire Consensus Core Technologies, which is a fast-growing AI infrastructure company. So there's your piece of news. 13, what do you got for us here?
So it looks like it started to go when we had the exclusive, because now it's very, very thin. So it doesn't surprise me that we started to see some movement ahead of the print. So whoever was basically the Benzinga subscribers were starting to get this thing going, but then when it hit the main feed, it really started taking off. But now we've come back in. Looks like this could come back in under $1, but this has a very, very small float. Keep an eye on it in case it puts in some more moves. It's got less than 500,000 shares, 495,000. So could see some more movement here with this one, but just wait for it to find the base.
Yeah, this one looks like it's trying to do that right now. It's so far, this is holding what, the 9 EMA? Yeah, this is holding the 9 EMA so far, but
could still go lower.
Can recapture VWAP. It can very easily go lower. Absolutely. Okay. And then this AGH, I was looking at this earlier. This is a new one for me. I think this is moving on a headline about the two Trump sons getting a drone company or investing in a drone company. I think that's what's going on here, but I did not have all of that stuff earlier. Oris Greenway signs a merger agreement with Autonomous Power, new American drone and defense company to be created through a merger of Power Us and Oris Greenway Holdings. So this can be another company that we can add to the drone playlist, watch, all of that. Stock is up 17.5% today, about $5.70.
The Trump
and 13. I'm sorry, I've got to step away. My cat is screaming in distress.
Oh.
BRB.
Okay, well, I was going to ask a question, but I guess that's not going to happen. So this one, it looks like the news is more about signing an agreement with Autonomous Power because, and I haven't read this Wall Street Journal article, but looks like there's a drone company that the Trump sons are backing that hasn't IPO'd yet. So maybe that's not the case, but that's what I'm reading here at the newsfeed. What does the chart look like with this one here? Well, this looks like could still continue higher. Let's see a break over 6. That looks like a pretty important spot to clear. Let's see what that looks like on a weekly. Kind of into a bit of an ascending wedge here, a rising wedge. Now that I back this out into a longer time frame. So if we draw some trend lines there on the top side and on the bottom, we have ourselves a rising wedge. Now, I don't know how long it's going to take for this to resolve to the downside, but we still could climb higher up towards 8 or 9. So just something to watch with AGH. Anyway, what should we be looking at here? Is they invested in UMAC? Is that the one that they? Because that's already public. It's the articles. The headline anyway reads that they're looking to bring one to market via reverse merger. So I don't know if I don't know what they're planning with that, but UMAC's already on the market. Could you discuss HIMS levels? Yeah, we looked at that earlier. I think the big one that we couldn't get past was the 50-day SMA. That's going to be at about $25. We didn't get it exactly to $25, but we were pretty close. So that's going to be the resistance area I'd be keeping an eye on. Right now, it looks like this thing is having a hard time just holding up above 22. So that's kind of what I'm looking at here with HIMS. I think 25 is going to be resistance. 22 will be support. Whichever one we lose first, that's probably the direction we start heading. Hey, Ryan. So we were just looking at HIMS again because Joe wanted to get some levels.
Which one? I'm sorry.
HIMS. That one.
HIMS. Got it.
Yeah. So I was just telling him. Looks to me like 25 is resistance, 22 is support. Looks to me like we could even come down to 22 pretty easily here. We'll see if that ends up holding up, though.
Okay. What else do you want to do? Should we do ticker time?
Sure, let's do some tickers.
Finish it out. We got 9 minutes left here. What other stocks do you folks want us to take a look at? Oil, CAPR. That's from thinking about it.
This isn't doing a whole lot this morning. It's
Which one?
The
Capper?
CAPR, yeah.
It's up 11.5%.
127,000 shares.
I gotcha.
Some short interest might see some squeezing action. That's probably what got it up here, to be honest. I don't know that this news about them presenting their fourth quarter and 2025 full year results is necessarily the main driver here, but it could be.
And they're going to also have a corporate update, but I'm not sure what to expect in that.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens in a few days. That's supposed to be on March 12th.
Okay, well, there you go. Mark your calendar, right? So March 12th, that's going to be Thursday this week. Mark your calendar. This might be in play on that day. Okay. All right, we got some more
APA
charts to take a look at. You want me to go to APA?
This is just another oil and gas name.
He's looking for levels here. So he's thinking 34.5, 35, and then what?
Oh, okay. Well, I apparently drew a trend line. We looked
So
at
did
this
I.
last week, didn't we?
Look. So did
Yeah.
I. So we went through that trend line. The levels that you're looking at here. Let me read those again. 34.5, 35. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even really see that. I would just go 35, frankly.
I mean, we're into some consolidation right now, and the price has had a pretty good run ever since Liberation Day, where we reversed. This is getting a little extended on the weekly chart. It's pretty extended on the daily. So, I think that there could be some back and forth as we get into this consolidation that happened from like February of 2022 to May of 2024. Looks to me like 40 is going to be a pretty tough spot as well for resistance. So don't know how much longer we're going to extend up here, but we are getting to be pretty overbought on some of these charts. So I would think that if we do extend towards 40 and continue higher before we pull back, that might be the area where we finally get resistance.
Yeah, I would say, just going off of what Deswan had said here, I would say you looked like you were asking for more resistance levels above this. I would say 35. And then I would probably also say this 45 level would be pretty important too. That's if we can get up there. 13, great point about this being overbought right now with a 72, almost 73 RSI.
And it's great that we got a breakout over this trend line here, because if we do extend a little bit higher, and we get extended, then that'll be great for a back test of the trend line. We want to see that happen.
Yeah, that would also coincide with the 20-day moving average too. Okay, good stuff, 13. Really good stuff. And Jay, all right. Jay, you get the first one up here today, because I was wondering, I was watching the oil markets open last night, and I thought to myself, who's going to be the first one to talk about a potential short in oil? And Jay Rice, you take the cake here today. SCO, which is a chart we will take a look at here. This is the ultra short oil. And let me actually go to a 15-minute chart so it doesn't look like that. So here we go. You can see where this is going. Obviously, with oil moving up, this is going to move down. So this is going to be a regression back to the mean. Zippity, I love your question here. I love that. I'm just going to go through your little dialogue here. And then 13, I would like to get some technical analysis from you and maybe your opinion as well. So Jay here, just mentioning that this is the ultra short oil. Zippity asking if you're starting to nibble. Jay said, I bought some last night. I'm out already of most. So this was going to be another one of the questions I was going to ask. Is this more of like a swing or a day trade? Jay, it sure seems based on your already executed trade here that this is going to be a short-term vehicle for you to trade some of these oil moves. Let me know if that's correct here. This did bounce a little bit. 861 was the low. Looks like it is trying to trade up here today. I'll be honest, I don't have any position on oil. I'm going to wait for the open to shake this out. But let me know what you think here. Here's what the hourly chart looks like. You can see this is just the inverse of the oil move higher. So 13, you got anything on this one?
If there is a bounce coming in this, and I'm not sure that there is, but if there is a bounce coming, there's two levels that I've got my eye on. It'd be 1050 and I guess 1050 and 1150. That would be two areas of resistance. I mean, on the weekly, we're pretty extended to the downside. Same thing with the daily. I mean, we're at 16 RSI on the daily. Monthly is still pretty oversold. So I get the sense that a bounce is going to happen at some point, but I don't know that it's going to be a complete. I don't think it's going to be a reversal to where we start recapturing some of these levels in the mid to high teens. I think we're going to come up until like the 11, 12 area at the most.
Yeah, and we've got a gap here. This is from like 13 up to 14 and change, and then it's really this level in here, 14 and a half, right? 1450. This was a support several times that we ended up obviously cracking. So that should be resistance on the way back up. We'll see. Big B's here says, yeah, I'm definitely looking at it a short on oil play, but I love the context that you're adding here. I have to unload these USO 120 calls here today. These are going to be huge winners. So congrats. I won't give you the register ring because I absolutely am not going to accept blame if something crazy happens here and I've jinxed it. USO here, 119.45 in the pre-market. Congrats, Big B's. Do us a favor. Keep us posted on what you're thinking for a potential oil trade there. I'm sure oil is going to be one of the top things we cover in happy hour today. So, okay. Got motion. Dude, I think you can actually rewind. I've covered hymns and then 13 covered hymns. So we have hymns totally covered here. We're definitely going to be looking at it again here today when the market opens. I'm sure it's going to be on deck, but we've already covered that several times here today.
25 resistance, 22 support.
Perfect. And actually, you know what I'll do here, Got Motion? Let me give you the article that we covered earlier here today. You should be able to breeze through that in just a couple of seconds. That also outlines key resistance is 25 and key support is 15 in that article.
We're getting a quick move here in some of these names that we were trading last week, the oil names like Battalion and Turbo. We're getting like they're moving right now. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're totally fine. Jay said he got 75 cents to 90 cents on that short oil trade earlier. Lion here adding, if you're going to go short oil, you have to be quick and it has to be kind of a small time frame. I would completely agree with Lion on this. Completely agree with that. I would not. Big B's, that hold over the weekend was a great one. I would say, especially if you're just not confident in that, I would keep those as short as possible. Okay, we are under a minute till we open. Let's see what today brings. S&P futures still holding here at minus 0.95%. So we are up off the lows. And it is worth noting that on the 15-minute chart, we're also above the VWAP here this morning.
We're going to have a lot of opportunities, but let's not try to be a hero today.
Yeah, I would say this is another one of those days where you can kind of take it a little bit slower here. And again, not try to be a hero.
Here we go.
All right, we're open. Good luck here today, folks. SPY, first move up. First move here is up, I guess I should say.
All right, Sable, blasting off, SOC.
Okay.
Probably going to halt. I'm just guessing. It's not doing anything that's suggesting it's going to halt, but it just shot right up.
Looks like it came back in a little bit as well there.
All the oil names just sold right off.
Retro, I actually think it was better for Buffalo, but I reserve my right to see who they draft. Let's see. Let's see how it shakes out. Initially, though, I like it more for Buffalo. Okay, SOC trying to go higher.
SOC, if you back out a little bit further, so on the 5-minute chart, you can see a trend.
Sure can. That's going to give us a target, isn't it, 13?
Yeah, it should give us about 1635, 1640-ish.
Do you have it like going through the high from Friday?
I have it on Thursday's high, starting at Thursday's high, going through Friday's high.
Got it. That's going to be right in here, not the pre-market. We're going to do this, and then we're going to do this, and I should have the same trend line as 13 there or thereabouts. All right. Let's see what else. Let's see moving here. VIX. So VIX was actually above 30. It still is. Was above 35 earlier. That's come in a little bit. Oil's first move here is down. Don't get head faked by that. SPY's first move is up.
LRHC, it took a second as soon as it opened, but now it's trying to push back above the 140 area where it was when it sold off. That was the resistance. Looks like
144 is that VWAP too.
Yeah, 150 has a large seller in the way as well. QURE just absolutely sinking. RLMD has not done anything really. It's trying to figure out if it's going to push through this VWAP or not. HIM's losing the 65 EMA.
Okay, we were going to check in on HIM's a number of times here today, I'm sure. That's pulling back here too. Ooh.
Yeah, I'm just kind of waiting to see what we're getting here.
Same. I don't necessarily have anything that I'm looking to buy right away here today. Costco's higher. That's back above 1,000. Apple popped and pulled back just a little bit. Ondas down a little bit.
Everybody's just freaking out.
Not us. Not us.
AMPX have a nice move out of the gate there.
AMPX, that's the drone battery play.
Yes, sir. It looks like those movers are starting to pull themselves back up. ZENE, or I'm sorry, XE. I said Z. It's Zine, but XENE pulled itself back over the view up, trying to push through the trend line that we drew.
Moderna actually looks like this on the 5-minute can't help it, but this kind of looks like a janky head and shoulders there. I'm not sure how good that feels. Let's take a look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA went green. Jay here saying NVIDIA went green. Palantir 2. Take a look at Palantir. I would imagine with the defense names, that is probably par for the course. All right, that initial SPY pop. Glad you didn't trade that one. Looked like a head fake. That basically came right back down to where we opened. Wait out some of the shakiness here early, I think, is the good move.
And remember we last week we talked about how there could be some lessened volume with people going on spring break vacation with their families and whatnot. That starts. That's starting already.
When is the spring break calendar?
Well, it's for
I know it varies, so that might be a difficult.
Yeah, it varies, but it's mostly in March. Some school districts you see in early April as well, but the majority of it is pretty much from this year it's like the 9th to the what's the last week of March?
Yeah, it's because I remember back to COVID. Weren't there a bunch of college kids on spring break when all of the madness started to happen? That was right before the tournament started, so that must have been early March. Right. It must have been right in the same period that we're in right now.
That's right. EONR, one of the names we were looking at last week. This looks like it's trying to push up over $1 for those of you that are interested in pay names.
Yep, and that actually was so check this out, 13. Not only is that trying to make a move above $1, but if we extend the trend line that you had us draw last week, that actually acted as support here today.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's actually not terrible. I know I poo-pooed penny stocks earlier today, but the chart and the action here today on this one, not horrific. Also, Supric mentioning that Turb is breaking out. This was another one from last week. This, as far as breaking out, looks like it is trying to break the pre-market high, maybe the intraday high from Friday as well.
Yeah, 469 is the pre-market high that we hit at the open of pre-market. Haven't been up there since. So, and there's also a big seller in the way at 470. So, need to see some big volume if we're going to get through that. The high from Friday is 477. So we're all within 10 cents here of these highs and these sellers and these breakouts. So just need to see that big volume come in to take us higher.
Trout Bum saying EDSA is on watch. So we had an initial pop that actually looked like we might break the highs from Friday, or the after hours highs from Friday. It's pulling back here a little bit, but maybe if this holds what I got VWAP at 674, we're right around there. We'll see if we can recapture this.
LRHC is continuing to push up, trying to get through some of these sellers here. It's moving higher.
All right, HC, I'm sorry, I'm just running through some of these tickers here.
This is the really thin one that had the Benzinga exclusive.
Yep.
So it's pushing back up towards this these pre-market highs. 181 is the pre-market high there.
So the last time we talked about this, it was shy of its VWAP. There's your recapture. So
yeah, it's already put in 35 cents since we talked about it. Nice little move there.
Okay, SPY broke 666. So we're back in a 665 handle, about 665 and a half here.
I'm sorry, what was that figure?
What? 665 and a half?
Oh, okay. Hold on a second. Let me see what the low was. How about that? So we have in the pre-market, we achieved 5% pullback.
Oh, so okay. So one of those pre-market lows reached your 5% pullback level from the all-time highs on SPY.
Yep. So we have.
So what value was that?
660. You round up, and it's 663.
663. Okay, and look at that. Look where that is in this pre-market chart here. So this would be if we continue to roll over, which is what we're doing right now. This would definitely be a level to watch. And you know what? There you go, Daniel. One up for that. Lion saying that the airlines are going lower. That I would imagine we expected.
If we get a 10% correction in the SPY, we'll see 628.
Lion, what regarding airlines here? Do you have any positions on there? I know you're long oil, long defense. I don't remember if you're actually short airlines. They do continue to move lower here. Kathy wants to take a look at USEG.
All the movers from this morning are headed lower.
SPY, that rollover's trying to slow down here, but as we already said, no reason to try and be a hero. Don't give away money on a day like today. That is for sure. Tesla also moving lower here. Bitcoin is up nicely off of its lows. I have an overnight low of about 66K there. We're just above 69K. You're in love and American puts. Okay, so LUV and AAL to the downside, Lion. Appreciate you.
This market looks like it's pretty thin with the way things are trading.
I wouldn't be surprised at that at all. So that VIX, that pre-market VIX melt seems to have slowed down, at least temporarily. We are holding above 30, holding right at about 31 on the VIX.
GB Slice, you're looking for Delta Airlines to go down to 53, or what's 53? Because we're headed there, it looks like.
I think that is probably the next key level there for Delta, if I was guessing.
We got the 500-day SMA at just shy of 55. It's at 54.94.
RLMD, remember this is the bladder cancer data that we got here today. This was actually unable to get and meaningfully hold above the VWAP.
I think there's going to be a lot of agreement about the low 50s. I've had a line here at 52 for Delta for a while, so I don't think your 53 level is bad at all. I think that's absolutely great. Not sure exactly what the price is going to be, but this whole low 50s area does look like where the price is headed.
700% on the USO calls, Big B's out 3/4 of the position. That will absolutely get you a register ring. Really good stuff there. Holding the trailer for a VWAP reclaim and maybe a move higher. I'm going to refresh my platform here real quick. Sorry.
Yeah, just kind of waiting to see what some of these names are going to do. A lot of sideways action. Even in the names from last week.
664 now for the SPY. Glad we waited that out. And then Daniel here saying, wouldn't trade SPY at all unless it's to the short side. Fair enough.
Yeah,
and by the way, S&P futures, so SPY's beneath the VWAP. S&P futures on the 15-minute chart approaching that VWAP. That's right at about 665. See if I can get that here for you. It's right at about 665-ish. 6649 and change is what I have. See if that holds the futures. Haven't seen anything really interesting on the options. Unusual. What do you got?
Look at HIMS. So we did lose.
Is that with the S or the Z, the leveraged one?
I'm not worried about the ETFs. I'm just going to focus
Gotcha.
on the stock. So HIMS, we lost 22. Now we're coming back up to test it and try to recapture. If we get a rejection here, I think we come down. We could even go beyond 20, like to the downside. So if we get a rejection here at the 65 EMA, which I have at 22.27, I think that's where we go next.
Okay.
So need to see a recapture here if we're going to come back up and go higher to beyond 25. Looks like some of these other names are starting to pull themselves back up. QURE trying to recapture the VWAP. Some of these names still haven't quite turned around yet.
SCO, this is above its pre-market highs now. Is anyone on the short oil? Oil's actually trading up in the last 5-minute tick.
Well, you have my blessings, Joe.
Which one? Sorry.
Joe says he's got SPY puts at
There you go.
666 for religious reasons.
Okay, well, you're what, 2.5 points in the money on that?
That trade is a beast. Not seeing too many things look good right now.
Yeah, me either.
LITE not looking too bad. Would like to see this pull itself back above the VWAP.
Good morning, Ryan. It's great to see you. Hopefully you had a great weekend. The 2 penny stocks at the top of my scanner, the biggest volume here. AZI, this actually recaptured the VWAP, might be trying to go higher. I'm going to pass on all of these penny stocks. ELPW went to the VWAP and got swatted back down.
BMNR is having a good day.
Report pulling back, BMNR. So this must be Ethereum moving with Bitcoin.
Yeah, it leads the way with crypto for now. We had all that talk about how it's not going to be the leader forever. HIMS, okay, here we go. HIMS pulling itself over that 65 EMA. VWAP's next. If we can hold above this level, then we should be able to move up towards 25 for another test, maybe even a breakout. And
Lion mentioning Micron continuing to come back in. Micron here is actually down 3.2%. We covered earlier the NVIDIA snub. For anyone that might have missed that or is interested in that, if you trade Micron or any of those other memory names, I threw the link to that article there in the chat. But remember, NVIDIA snubbing Micron for Samsung and SK Hynix. Micron trading down here out of the open.
Wasn't that like Thursday news, though?
Yeah, this was just kind of a recap of what was going on there, and it looks like we're getting some more continuation here. I mean, that Micron daily chart, you tell me, 13, the Micron daily chart looks like this might continue rolling over here. That actually would be good for the MUD trade that we have done before, MUD, but here's what the Micron daily looks like for you. Looks like we're back testing the long-term trend line that we had after coughing up the 50.
I like 320. We'll see what happens there.
And then you guys mentioning DTCK, that's Davis Commodities. Let me go back to my main workspace. We can take a look at that here together. That is ripping right now. DTCK. Got to make sure I don't screw that one up or I'm going to be really embarrassed. So here you go. What did we have news on this? Let's see. It's up 40%. I just have the halt stuff here. Tuesday, March 3rd, 20 for 1 sets March 9th. So they had a 20 for 1 reverse that is effective today. Right? Sets March 9th, which is today, as the effect date for the 20 to 1 reverse. So that's what's going on here with DTCK. Yep.
Okay, and they already had a pretty small float to begin with. They had less than 8 million, so that's going to make it even smaller, way smaller. You like 260 for Micron? I mean, it probably goes there, but I think the first area of support that I see is going to be 320. It probably ends up going to 260, but 320 looks like the next support to the downside.
Marionette saying, have a look at Goog. So here we go on Google. So this actually a nice bounce here, possible red green if it keeps going back up towards 300. Still down 2.5, but down 1% here. Are you long, Marionette? Are you long Google here?
I don't like that daily chart.
Yeah, I don't either, man. That's what I was just thinking. Took the words right out of my head.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this eventually came down to about 260. Let me take a look here. Let me just give me 1 second. I'm going to measure something.
Not yet. Okay, what do you need for that?
Okay, 245, 250 actually might make more sense for GOOG. That's where I think this could come down to.
Tell you what, intraday looks like this is actually trying to go higher right now. We might have a red green on deck here on Goog.
I don't know how long that'll last. I think this still comes in some more. I think this goes down at around 245, 250. Not exactly sure what kind of time frame that's going to take, but maybe it takes a month or two. But I could see this coming down at that price, getting support.
Okay. Turb. What are we doing on Turb? That's actually been, I guess, one of the better movers here today. Okay, Turb through Friday's highs. We are approaching, this is what, Thursday's after hours highs right at about 550-ish. I got it at 543. This is actually not bad considering we've lack of targets here today. This one, not terrible, and I'm working here. AXTI from Kath. This looks like it might be trying to take out the pre-market high here. G-Man mentioning NBIS. So are we having reversals here, folks?
AXTI, nice reversal off the 20-day SMA after it went down there to catch support.
Yes, we are. We are having some reversals.
NBIS. I don't know. Doesn't seem like it's really doing a whole lot. I guess it's great that we're holding above this support area of 87.
So that SPY bounce there, very short-lived. S&P futures at the VWAP right now. Oh, my Lord.
Marionette, I could see Google making a run later this year after it comes in. I think we get, in a lot of these Mag 7s, I get the sense that we're going to see some downside before we see more upside that takes us to new highs.
Oxy, several of you folks were mentioning that earlier. This is basically flat from the pre-market range. It is up 1.3%, however. Live Nation, they had some news this morning, didn't they? They're up 5%, almost 6%. Live Nation reaches a Department of Justice settlement in the antitrust case. That was from Bloomberg this morning. That's attributing to the 6% we're seeing here today. Circle's trading higher. This is your stable coin stock. This up 9%. This got to be moving with Bitcoin, but relative strength here to Bitcoin is up much more. PayPal's back down. Tesla under 400.
Jane, what are you saying exactly? I'm looking at 10. If you're in this, well done.
AGH, new drone play, not really doing a whole lot. Well, so what's the deal with 10?
It's an oil and gas name carrier, and they've been having a really good February and a good March.
So is this a Greek shipper?
I don't think it's Greek. I think they're Asian.
Sakos, okay.
Let me double check here. Actually, what am I doing that for? I can just look at their filing. They are, no, you're right. They are Greek. They are Greek.
I got that because she said it was like Zim. 10 is Greek. Okay.
Yeah.
Ondas back to the 950s. See where that one finds some support.
Yeah, I bet that, well, especially with QURE, because we were talking earlier about how, Joe, we were talking about, how there's an FDA director that been a real pain in the ass for QURE. I got you, Jane. Yes, they are on a charter service like Zim. So with rising, I mean, now that rates are going to be much higher, this is going to be like Zim, and it gets its revenue based on what the rates are. Hopefully, they're signing some new contracts right now with these rates.
S&P futures still battling with the VWAP right here. SPY just tried to bounce, but very, very short-lived. Seeing some HIMS put flow on the back of its news here today. Unable to recapture VWAP intraday as well.
Yep, right back beneath 22.
Carvana down 4%. This in danger of breaking a pretty key support level pretty soon as well.
I mean, really the only one that's really done anything great that we looked at today has been Turb. Not so much of a shiny Turb anymore, is it?
I see what you did there.
I mean, that just consolidated a little bit out of the open, and then we just took off.
Lion says we need to keep an eye on water desalinization stocks. So we've tried that before on varying other water themes. Those stocks, they were few and far between. I can't remember the tickers that we talked about. That was a happy hour that we discussed that 13, but it never really materialized for a trade. Anyway, if you have tickers on that line that you want to take a look at, let us know what those are.
Yeah, and well, we might still have an opportunity with water because there's going to be a potential crisis with the western states if they can't come up with a resolution to share the Colorado River water. And if they don't come up with a resolution, I think by I want to say it's October this year, then the federal government steps in and comes up with their own rule for how they're going to do it. I have water stocks, but
they're not all like separated into desalinization. LRHC, by the way, that was on its bounce back up through the VWAP. That's coughed it up again.
Well, there were a few companies that I was looking at that kind of got mixed up with the battery theme because so what I was finding is that the Salton Sea, which is in California, has some projects going on with it right now where they're trying to use that water because it's really salty and they're desalinizing that, but they're using that brine for rare earths and lithium. So there's like multiple applications here aside from just purifying water or salt water. It's to take that brine and to get some other minerals out of it, like lithium and some rare earths.
NFE getting mentioned here by Kathy. This is actually bouncing pretty nice as well. New Fortress and Marionette. Look at Goog. That short-term weakness, we're coming right back up. The 300 going to be the next area here that's really going to have to get above.
Sorry, I'm just looking something up here.
Yeah, it's quite all right. In fact, today might be a day where there's lots of looking stuff up. I still don't have anything great that I really like here as a trade today. I've been watching SPY. I've been watching some of these bounces. They kind of look random. I think I kind of agree with Daniel. There doesn't seem to be the impetus to really kind of trade to the long side here. S&P futures are trying to bounce off the VWAP, but again, in the interest of not trying to be a hero, probably we'll wait for that to confirm. VWAP on SPY 665. We're beneath it. See if we recapture that.
Yeah, I know I looked at all this up here before. Berkshire Hathaway is involved out there too. I think Chevron is as well, but I think that's more on the geothermal side.
I am seeing some QURE calls going off on this little bit of a pullback.
Turb pulling back, but that looks like it's just getting ready to make its next move up.
Yeah, and really quickly here, the desalinization that Lion brought up, that's because of the plant that was hit. Hit Kuwait, a Kuwaiti desalinization plant.
So the idea is to look up component producers for plants.
Okay, the SPY is trying. Still not above the VWAP, but boy, it's trying to. And the futures chart, despite a bearish trend on the 15-minute, it does look like it's trying to bounce off the VWAP here. Going to be at a pretty important here for SPY coming up, 665 and change. The water already tastes being pretty bad there. The plant being down might be an improvement. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. 665, excuse me, 13. 665.07 is the VWAP there on the SPY. Unable to get above it so far.
JD's bringing up Rocket, RCKT. Rocket Pharmaceuticals.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know what this is going on. I don't see any news.
I didn't see anything on the Twitter streets on that either. Still don't.
All right, how much? I'm just kind of looking at things, and everything's just like sideways that I'm looking at. It seems like there's very little volume right now. A lot of fear, probably too. Speaking of Rocket, RKT down in the low 14s. And, I think everything's just going to be down for a little while.
Yeah, I'm thinking, again, we get the seasonality flip that is supposed to happen around mid-March. That would probably be next week. I don't know if that's going to hold up here. I would tend to think that you might have some considerable weakness until the end of March, early April, maybe. That would be my thought. We'll see if the SPY comes into its 200 in that time.
So getting a mention about DTCK, I don't see what's going on with it, except it's still trying to push higher. We haven't been able to close. We haven't been able to close above 2, but we might be getting close to doing that. Mo, you're looking for a close over the 212 there, and then a resistance gap. By the way, I think Turb is trying to turn around and push higher. So many of these names just not moving at all, though. Sorry.
Yeah. Apple actually traded back up. That seems to be somewhat of a safe haven here today. Bitcoin actually testing 70K again. See if that can get back above 70K. I agree with Lion here. Have cash ready and be patient.
Yep. There's going to be a lot of buying opportunities.
I think that's really smart, Lion. I think that's really smart.
Looks like BMNR is trying to make its way up to 20 again. Got rejected at 1979. Anybody seen anything? Cruises are being hit.
Yeah, the boats. I actually took a look at that earlier here. It was CCL.
All forms of travel likely getting hit.
Yeah, that would not be surprising. EQNR and SAFX, 2 penny stocks still at the top of the list. What's AAOI doing? That's been another big winner for our group here. That's actually that's green already, but this might be trying to go back to the 100 and teens handle that it was in last week. CW Parker, it's great to see you. Good morning. Mentioning Bloom Energy. How we doing on Bloom?
It's trying to recapture the 50-day SMA.
Okay.
I question its ability to get back above 145.
Okay. S&P futures still trying to bounce here. Careful with that, though. And SPY actually trying to go above its 8 EMA.
I mean, just every time that Bloom lose lately, since it's the prices or the 20-day SMA has been up here. Every time that we lose or go underneath this 20-day SMA, it seems like it just has a magnetism to 145.
Ooh, got a big spike there in the SPY. Here we go. Let me check to see if we have news for this. S&P futures trading higher, SPY spiking. We're back above 665. I don't have any news yet hitting the wire. And actually today, just for those of you that don't necessarily know or follow, today's the beginning of NFL free agency. So my timeline is unfortunately, I will say today, littered with stuff not related to the market.
DTCK broke 2. If it broke 2, I think it should go higher.
Here's your DTCK. SPY is through its VWAP. We'll see if this can hold here.
Okay, so this current candle that we're in, okay, so we need to close this candle above 2. And then I think if we do that, there's a lot more likely of a chance we go higher. So this current candle that we're in. Light up 11%. Yeah, I was looking at that earlier. It's still creeping up.
I can bring that back up here too if you want. Google through Marionette. Google through the high. Google's looks very similar to this. Light did the same thing. So these actually moved through their intraday highs here. Here's Google. Still think 300 might be coming.
Ed Edwards mentioning QQQ.
The Qs.
Yeah.
This SPY move keeps going here. Might be able to be scalped there. I got one in there, but I don't know.
It's like 596 in the Qs is the level to get over now.
Did anyone hold shorts over the weekend with all the fear out there on either tech or otherwise? I know oil was primarily in focus.
I didn't.
I didn't either. Apple's still marching higher. We haven't seen Izzy here today. Hopefully he's all right. Amazon pulled back to the overnight lows and held that. So I guess that's a good sign early on. Brian, I held UAL and Dow shorts over the weekend. Okay, that was, you know what? I'll give you a register ring for that, even if you didn't close them yet, because that was pretty good. SPY pulling back big now. That was short-lived. If you're going to trade any of that, have your stops.
I gotta look at that DTCK. We got that candle to close over 2. Here we go.
This is DTCK. Let me go back to that. Sorry. Sold the pop on the SPY. If you guys are scalping that, good stuff. At least you're getting some action there. I'd be careful, though. That is fast moving. Not for the faint of heart. And then Lion here, you're short on CCL 20 Aprils. So you're in the 20 puts, which expire in April. Yeah, Webcoin saying real news, tankers getting through the Strait of Hormuz on Squawk. I had seen a report right this morning on CNBC, like very, very early in the morning, that it was just one. And my thought was, okay, that's a data point, but let's get more than one because one isn't going to alleviate any of the pressure. Be interesting to see if that picks up, Webcoin. Remember, it's all about longevity, right? So if they're quickly able to get traffic through there again, you might have kind of a quick reversal on some of these. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just saying some things to look for. Kathy held SQQQ. Kathy, are you taking gains on that at all?
I thought I saw an article that had said that the Lloyd's Market Association, the London-based marine insurer, started issuing policies quietly again. Okay. It's not so quiet if the news caught wind of it, but that's an article I saw. So I'm not sure if that's what's happening. It's getting these tankers back in there, but
I think it's fair to say it's okay to take that with a grain of salt. Maybe wait for some more if you want. I think that's totally fair.
Okay, I think we're getting that move here. We're waiting for in Turb. We got that support. Trying to push up now. Need to clear that 555.
We'll see if Turb can bust through that 550 there. And your treasury 4.169. That's just up slightly.
AGH dipping more, says Webcoin.
It looks like, so this might have been some of the news here. This is courtesy of Zero Hedge. Let's cure. We're able to take action. We are ready to take action to stabilize markets. IMF, EEA took part in G7 finance chief meetings. They're ready to use strategic oil reserves to stabilize the market. G7 not there yet on releasing oil stockpiles. So it looks like that back and forth might be some of the stuff that's going on with this back and forth we're seeing here today.
Some of those oil names from last week are starting to get going again. TPET with a move.
The smaller ones.
Yeah, TPET with a move. Battalion had a pop up to 2540. Turb, it looks like it's trying to push through that 555, but it's going to need some more volume to get through it.
229, the spot there on TPET. Google pushed to new highs, Marionette, and immediately snapped back. I would say if that doesn't break down or you get a series of higher lows, that would actually be encouraging for the rest of the session. Nice Ukraine has received 11 requests for help downing Iranian drones. I know one company they could use. Tell you what, the options, the unusual options, nothing crazy here today. Kind of thought I might see some of that. Not even like a crazy closing trade. I will say it's possible I missed it though, but BHP. Probably a call sale. I don't know. No read on that. Sorry, folks.
The price action on SPY, when I'm looking at a 5-minute chart, it looks like we're going to go lower. Like we're going to probably lose.
Let me pull it up.
It looks like we're going to come down to under the 660s. We'll see.
I think the 662 here is going to determine that, right? We break that. We probably try that 660 area. Yeah.
I think that's right. But just the way that this price action's been, I'm not too keen on the 662 being a double bottom area. I think we go through it. We'll see what ends up happening. But yeah, it looks like we're certainly coming back down to test that same area again. Avago, Broadcom.
Here we go on SPY. I'll keep an eye on this on the other one. We can go to whatever you're looking at, 13.
I wonder if we get the same is this the same movement again here. We have this move up towards the 340s, and then we roll over. Did that on Thursday in the pre-market and Friday in the regular session.
Thank you, Trey. Tick staying below zero, so it's confirming your thoughts for now. That's a really good point. So one other thing, and this is actually, we talked about this strategy-wise with one of the gentlemen that has a pretty sound zero DTE plan that trades here in the pro community. The ticks, when they start moving higher or when they're above, I think 300 was the threshold, a positive one. That's something to watch. And you're right, Trey, we didn't get that. We did not get that. In fact, we are below zero. We have been all day. So until that changes, that might be one, almost like your market compass, if you will.
Well, you know what, Zippity Doodah, that sounds more exciting than with this market right now. F1 opening race of the season.
Didn't watch it. I'm surprised Zach didn't give us an update on that earlier this morning.
T-Pet struggling to break its upside. Yeah, it's all this pre-market consolidation. It's trying to get through that whole area right now. So everybody that got stuck in there as we approach the open, they're trying to get out. Probably will trade a lot better if we can get through 240. Retro,
SPY marching lower. Sorry, 13. Sorry.
You're starting a new position in ASTS. You know, if ONDS got bad news, it looks like it might have an easy time going down. Oh, look at that. We are breaking down here. We already lost 10. Just look at daily.
I can go to it here real quick.
You may actually get that wish. This looks like we could come back in towards maybe 675. 8's going to be a support level. I don't know that we hold it. If we're breaking this uptrend, I think we're going to come down to the 200-day SMA.
Yes, folks. DTCK halted at the highs. DTCK, Davis Commodities, halted 258 to the upside. Stocks up 80%. Sorry for interrupting 13, but that just happened here.
That just happened. Push through 220 like a boss, and we are coming up to. So we're in an interesting area here because on March 4th, this is about where, and March 4th and 5th, this is where the after hours and pre-market highs were. So do we go higher from here? We break over those. There's somebody's in this area selling. If we do go higher, okay, so if you look at February 19th, I think that might be the big spot where it's going to find a lot of resistance. There's this whole consolidation area from this this big move down. That's going to be from about 275 to 305.
Is this DTCK?
Yes.
This thing, I have a spike that looks like this thing went to 60,000. That just tells me all of the reverse splits that are going on in here.
I'm on a 5-minute.
Yeah.
So you just go to the 19th of February. I think that's a consolidation we need to keep an eye on.
Mm-hmm. That's going to be back here a little bit. These moving averages are messing up my chart.
I just take auto off.
Yeah.
There.
Go back here and take a look.
There it is. Right there.
Yep. A DTCK toss restricted.
Yeah, James, they're merging with Mistral.
Oh, that's the Ondas news, huh?
And Ryan's going to have a full report for us tomorrow.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. 13's just out here slanging homework at me.
It's not homework for you. You know everything about this company.
I don't know. 13. You are just really testing the waters here.
Still going to see if Turb ends up doing something here. It's holding above VWAP,
so
but its momentum is starting to curl, roll over here. So I'm wondering if we start losing it soon.
Mistral serves as a prime contractor on over $1 billion IDIQ versions of the U.S. Department of Defense. So I think the core takeaway here is that Ondas is acquiring a prime defense contractor that the military has uses, or the military has used. Excuse me. So I think that this is just more confirmation of the theme that we had about this being a company whose products get used in the whole drone theme. Now, why is it getting pounded here today? I mean, moving with the market, a lot of FinTwit traders in it, but I mean, my read through on the news is that it's good. Yeah. Strategic move to turn Ondas from mainly a drone robotics tech vendor into a player that can lead and execute multi-year U.S. government defense programs. That's what we want for a higher stock in the long term. Mistral merges into a subsidiary of Ondas, but continues to run its contracts, and Ondas becomes the corporate parent. So this also goes back to Eric's when we had him on, and he was saying about effectively building a tech stack. This goes right to that. This is exactly what we had talked about. Direct access to those big Army contracts is what I'm hearing. That's what I'm speculating too here. Prime contractor access to U.S. Army and special operation contract vehicles and other government programs instead of participating as a sub-vendor.
Looks like Bitcoin's trying to push up towards 70,000 again.
Oh, I took my eye off that chart. We had mentioned that earlier, 13. Good mention.
DTCK is unhalted.
Okay, let me go to it. See if there's anything here for us.
Got a little bit higher, 273. That's now the after hours high from the 4th is 274. There's somebody up there that doesn't want to go higher.
Google new highs. SPY's trying to bounce again, but as always, just be careful with that. A grain of salt if you're going to trade that.
LTRX has dived deep. What's happening here with this one? It sold off in the pre-market, finally turned around and trading back up. Seems like it's on pretty low volume.
One more thought here on Ondas regarding this move down here. The merger's great, but really how fast can they see benefit from that, right? How fast can they spin those drones up and execute those contracts? That is going to determine whether or not they turn that into revenue. And so perhaps that's what the market is hesitant on, I would say. Still, though, I think overall, I mean, maybe it's a bit promotional, but it sure seems like good news. DTCK new highs now.
I think we're trying to get a move here in Turb. It's trying to push up to over 555. It's hitting it right now.
This is look at that, right at the resistance area.
It's trying to put, I mean, it needs more volume to get through it, but it's trying. I'm just watching this thing to see if it's going to take it out or not. There we go. New highs. How high does it go? Maybe it goes to 790, something like that.
Okay.
558 new is now the high, still pushing up.
By the way, just as a kind of a cursory mention here to the group, for any of you that spend a lot of time in your desk chair, if your back is giving you trouble, think about a new chair. That has totally helped me. Really, really helpful in just kind of alleviating some of that back pain.
Turb going. It's the only trade I needed today.
Did you catch the first round? I did not, Jay. I did not. Tell you what, we got great weather here. I got the sled all cleaned up. It's looking absolutely gorgeous right now. And then I used some of that time to cruise around town with my buddy. So I missed some of this stuff that you're looking at. What do you got, 13?
Thinking about it, had a great line.
Oh, gosh. Another market bounce in SPY, question mark? Not in this one. Not scalping it yet. Really feel better when this thing's closer to the VWAP. We just crossed it.
Gosh, maybe Turb goes up to 660. I'm not in this anymore. I don't know where this is going to run to, but maybe 660. I won't be in these names too long.
Okay, market is trying to go up. Yeah, here it is. So this is actually a pretty decent move. Not in it, but SPY is trading up here. Let me see. Was there anything that I might have missed?
Ryan, what type of chair?
Oh, I got an X chair. I got an X chair, and it is awesome. It is really awesome.
New highs in BMNR. Looks like we're getting some more upside here with Bitcoin. Still trying to push through 69,250. That's been the high so far this morning. Looks like it's trying to get go for 70,000 now.
SPY looking to retest 666 coming up here. We are only down 1.1% now. I don't feel confident calling a green close today like I did the other day, but it is trying. Notable that it's trying.
Yeah, it's just this low volume and this illiquidity that is not keeping me in these too long, because I get the sense that some of these could just turn right around on you.
Tiny Pie saying, literally came here to say hi, and that daylight savings is ruining my life right now. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Tiny Pie, did you vote in our poll? And by the way, producer, if you're around, do we have those poll results? Because I'd love to share that before we sign off here, which is going to be in 5 minutes.
SOC trying to come back up here. It recaptured 15.
Which one? SOC? SOC, got it. Sorry.
Yeah, and I don't know when it's going to happen, but there's going to be some news with this one that's going to hit the feed as soon as the U.S. announces emergency powers for the Sable Oil project. They've talked about it. It's in the news. They were talking about it on Thursday, but I don't think that they've officially done anything. So when that news hits, this could get going.
Okay.
It also has some pretty big short interest too, so it could squeeze.
Okay. Daylight savings time. Love it or hate it. We had 4 options. They are as follows. 32% of you voted for love the extra evening sunlight. 27% of you said scrap it completely. That's where I voted. 23% of you said I hate changing the clocks. And 18% of you said keep it year round. So Tiny Pie, it sounds based on the poll that you are amongst friends. you're always amongst friends here, but amongst similar feeling folk.
T-Pet might be the next one to the next oil name from last week to go. If it gets some more volume, we're looking for a breakthrough 230 that takes us over 240. Turb coming back in now. And yeah, I saw that EONR. I mentioned that earlier when it was under $1. This hit a 110 high, running into some resistance though, with some sellers though.
Lion here says, I want to buy MU, but I have to wait a bit. The ugly war is still good. So let me ask you, Lion, are you looking to buy Micron based on the status of the conflict, or is there a specific price level, or would you like those to line up? Let me know on that.
He wants them to line up. So one thing to keep in mind, because I know you were bringing up the desalinization plants because they were struck. We're also seeing some data centers get struck too. Amazon Web Services data center was hit in this conflict. So I thought about that, 13. Here's my take on that. I think that that's not going to be a primary target, maybe not even a secondary target. I suspect that that was almost more accidental than anything else. If I were in the Iran's position and I had limited resources and I was running out of those resources quickly, I would strike things that are a little bit more important than a data center. Like, for example, water treatment. That's not what my point was. My point was that because they're being hit, they're going to have to be fixed, or the components that are going to be replaced.
Fair enough. Sorry.
So that was just kind of going along with these pieces of infrastructure, these buildings, they're getting hit, and what's in them is going to have to be replaced. And whether it's a desalinization plant or a data center. This means more money for some of these component makers, so it could be great for Micron.
Amazon down on the day, although it is trying to trade back up there. Joe, thank you for answering. I asked Lion, but you answered. I'll take that. 345 is my entry level on Micron.
I think
Lion, I think he said 280 maybe a little bit earlier. Sorry, 13.
He said it was down there, and I think he said 260, but he might have said 280. Okay. He might have said 280, but I'm looking for 320 first. That's my first stop. I want to see what happens at 320. That looks like a support area. Whether or not we turn around, can't say, but I do think that we get at the very least a bounce.
All right, NVIDIA did go green. Red green on NVIDIA. And by the way, that second SPY bounce met with the same fate as the first one, sold back down. 666 so far seems to be the key area that we are unable to clear out. All right, 13, we're out of time here for today. I know it's been a busy one so far. I apologize for the lack of really excellent setups, but remember, cash is a position. You do not have to force trades if you don't feel good about it. That was the scenario that I felt myself in, aside from the one SPY scalp that, frankly, I think I probably got a little lucky on. Nonetheless, 13, any closing words for the group here?
A very, very small field to choose from here. Fortunately, we did get some good moves here in Turb and a couple others that weren't one of the movers that we had looked at today. Those really didn't do a whole lot. But sometimes we get days like this. So let's just see what we end up getting tomorrow. Maybe we get some better price action in Power Hour. But for now, I think I'm just going to be happy with what I got and just sit on my hands the rest of the day, maybe even look for some potential targets for when we do start bottoming out the broader market. But until then, folks, I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day. Take care and goodbye.
Okay. Really good stuff, 13. We will see you tomorrow, and we will be back here. And I will leave you with this here, folks. Just a little glass half full type of mention. Days like today, look, if it doesn't make sense for you or you're worried or any of that, cash is a position. Sitting out isn't going to kill you. Always try to protect your capital first. And then on a more global note here, with a lot of the terrible stuff going on in the world, remember, you can control only what you can control. So as one of our chat members here has said, just be nice to people, especially if it's on the way down. or especially if it's on the way up, because you will see those people on the way down. Control what you could control. Be nice, spread happiness to others, and everything will take care of itself. Folks, we'll be back here again tomorrow. Look forward to hanging out with you, breaking down the news, and then doing some trading with you. Have a great rest of your Monday. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. We'll catch you.